The storm hit the countryside just as the two titans of luxury rolled toward each other on the same deserted English road, one crowned with the spirit of ecstasy, gliding like a silent cathedral on wheels. The other carrying the unmistakable winged bee, its presence commanding the road with aristocratic defiance. Their headlights cut through the swirling rain like blades of gold, converging inch by inch, until the world seemed to freeze around the moment of impact. Not a collision of metal, but of legacies, philosophies, and an old rivalry born from the deepest chambers of British engineering history. One represents absolute serenity. The other, controlled power. One is built for those who want the world to slow down. The other, for those who want to outrun it. Yet in this suspended second before they pass each other, a single question hangs like electricity in the air. What truly defines the pinnacle of luxury, silence or strength? And as the road narrows and the storm thickens, one truth remains hidden just long enough to pull you in deeper. Behind these two machines lies a century-old conflict that reshaped the meaning of automotive royalty itself. And if stepping into this moment makes you feel the pull of this rivalry, the quiet question of which throne truly belongs to the king of luxury, then you already understand why journeys like this matter, why these stories reshape the way we see craftsmanship, power, and prestige. So if you love millionaire wisdom and deep dives into the world of ultra-luxury machines, hit subscribe so you never miss the next classified story. And give this video a like and share it with someone who appreciates this kind of elite craftsmanship as much as you do. Because what comes next will take you far beyond the surface of Rolls-Royce and Bentley into the hidden world that built them. From the moment the stormy roadway forced Rolls-Royce and Bentley into the same frame, the world they represent began to reveal itself. Layer by layer, because this rivalry is not merely about two cars passing in the rain, it is about the evolution of luxury itself. Shaped by time, heritage, engineering philosophy, and the expectations of the world's most discerning individuals. And to understand why these two names stand at the summit of automotive royalty, we must travel back through the corridors of British motoring history, to the years when craftsmanship was measured not in marketing campaigns, but in the hands of artisans who shaped metal like sculpture, and stitched leather the way master tailors build couture garments. And this foundation begins with two men whose ambitions would quietly ignite one of the greatest luxury rivalries ever recorded. Charles Rolls and Henry Royce, a visionary aristocrat and a mechanical genius. Two individuals who merged elegance with engineering so flawlessly that their early cars became symbols of excellence, long before the world called them luxury vehicles. And across the countryside, another story was forming, one driven by W.O. Bentley, a man obsessed with speed, performance, and endurance. A man whose engines would dominate the grueling 24 hours of Le Mans 5 times in 7 years, proving that true luxury was not only about comfort, but also about power that refused to break under pressure. And as these two ideologies took shape, Rolls-Royce mastering silence and Bentley mastering strength, Britain unknowingly planted the seeds of a rivalry that would endure for more than a century. But at this early stage, neither brand was competing for headlines or royalty. They were competing against the limitations of machinery itself, improving tolerances, refining materials, and crafting engines so smooth and so reliable that passengers felt as if they were gliding rather than driving. Rolls-Royce built their reputation on unparalleled refinement, the sensation that the mechanical heart of the car had been polished into near invisibility, creating a traveling sanctuary so quiet that even the engine seemed to whisper rather than roar. And this pursuit of silence became an art form of its own, shaping the company's identity into one that promised peace, serenity, and a sense of floating isolation from the chaos of the world. Bentley, meanwhile, built cars meant to be driven, not ridden in, capturing the hearts of wealthy racers, adventurers, and aristocrats who wanted adrenaline woven into their luxury experience. Men and women who believed that the ultimate privilege was not being chauffeured, but commanding the wheel themselves. feeling the engine surge beneath them like a controlled animal bred for dominance. These diverging philosophies created an invisible line between the two brands. Rolls-Royce speaking to those who desired effortless grace, and Bentley speaking to those who desired powerful individuality. But both were united by craftsmanship, tradition, and an obsession with perfection that no other manufacturer could match. As decades passed, Rolls-Royce began appearing in royal motorcades, presidential fleets, and billionaire garages, becoming a global symbol of power, elegance, and absolute comfort. While Bentley became the preferred choice of drivers who saw life as a challenge to conquer. Men like James Bond's original literary version, aristocrats who valued athleticism as much as status, and visionaries who wanted a machine that responded instantly to their desires. Yet beneath this divergence was a shared British soul: coach builders, hand-shaping aluminum panels, leatherworkers crafting interiors from the finest hides, and engineers perfecting engines that would become mechanical legends. This shared heritage is what maintains the rivalry even as the brands evolve in different directions. But what makes this story even more compelling is the way the world around them changed. Automotive manufacturing became dominated by mass production. Digital systems replaced analog craftsmanship, and luxury itself began to splinter into new categories defined by technology, sustainability, and brand identity. Yet Rolls-Royce and Bentley remained determined to preserve something the rest of the industry had lost: the human touch. Every stitch, every polished metal edge, every wood veneer panel inside these vehicles still carries the fingerprints of artisans whose skills take decades to master, and this devotion to hand-built excellence is why their cars command prices that surpass entire homes in many countries. Not because the materials alone are expensive, but because the time, expertise, and generational knowledge embedded into each vehicle creates something closer to a moving piece of art than a machine. As global wealth expanded and a new generation of entrepreneurs emerged from tech founders to entertainment magnates, demand for ultra-luxury vehicles surged. But so did expectations, because modern billionaires wanted more than tradition. They wanted personalization, identity, presence, and a driving experience that aligned with their own evolving relationship with luxury. And this expectation pushed Rolls-Royce and Bentley into a new era of innovation, where the rivalry transforms from mechanical superiority into philosophical expression. Rolls-Royce doubled down on its promise of effortless luxury, creating interiors that feel like floating lounges sculpted from silence, where sound insulation reaches near scientific precision, where the car becomes a personal sanctuary from the world, and where the experience is defined by calmness that no other brand can replicate. Bentley, on the other hand, embraced the idea of performance luxury, where their cars blend refinement with raw power, offering driving dynamics that make the owner feel alive, connected, almost woven into the machine itself, transforming luxury from an environment into an experience. This divergence deepened as both brands entered the modern age. Rolls-Royce perfecting the art of smoothness, while Bentley perfected the art of controlled aggression. And each step forward fed the rivalry, each innovation raising the stakes, each new model redefining what wealthy individuals expected from their million-dollar vehicles. And now, as this chapter closes, the stage is set for a deeper exploration of how these two philosophies, serenity and strength, have evolved into entirely different worlds within the same realm of excellence, worlds influenced not only by history, but by culture, psychology, technology, and the desires of those who sit behind the wheel, guiding us into the next chapter where the true essence of modern luxury begins to take shape. As we move into the heart of this rivalry, the distinction between Rolls-Royce and Bentley becomes more vivid, more defined, and more emotionally charged, because this is where luxury separates into two philosophies that almost behave like opposing forces, one rooted in serenity, the other in controlled strength, and understanding these differences requires us to step inside the world of modern craftsmanship, innovation, and the psychology behind why billionaires choose one brand over the other. Starting with Rolls-Royce, whose vehicles are built around the idea that luxury begins when effort ends, meaning that every element, every material, every technology inside a Rolls is engineered not to impress the driver, but to disappear into the experience, creating a sensation so seamless that you forget you're inside a machine at all. And this begins with their legendary architecture, the space frame design that allows each car to glide as if suspended in air. Its body isolated from road imperfections through engineering so advanced it's almost invisible. And its interior insulated from sound using over 300 pounds of noise cancellation, materials layered with scientific precision, resulting in a silence so pure that Rolls-Royce engineers have admitted they had to add a small amount of artificial noise back into the cabin because complete silence was too surreal to feel natural. Meanwhile, Bentley takes a different approach. Its interiors are handcrafted with equal dedication, its materials equally exquisite. But the emotional tone is different, because stepping inside a Bentley feels like stepping into a refined gentleman's club built for performance, where the leather is quilted, not just for beauty, but to grip you during spirited driving, where the metal controls feel mechanical and intentional, and where the cabin balances elegance with athleticism, reminding the driver that this is a machine built to be commanded, not simply admired. And this fundamental difference becomes even more striking when you start the engines. A Rolls-Royce hums softly, its V12 whispering like a calm breath, while a Bentley responds with a subtle growl. A restrained but unmistakable reminder of its power. Because to Bentley, power is not a hidden trait, is part of the experience, part of the story, part of the luxury. Technology strengthens these contrasts even more. Rolls-Royce integrates tech in a way that preserves the illusion of timelessness, hiding advanced systems beneath analog-inspired controls, using digital interfaces that feel serene rather than flashy, and developing bespoke audio, climate and ride systems that create an environment of perfect calm. And this is intentional because Rolls-Royce understands that its buyers seek escape, privacy, and psychological luxury, a break from the noise of business fame or influence. Bentley, however, leans into technology that enhances driving: sport-tuned suspensions, dynamic ride systems, programmable driving modes, precision steering calibrations, and powertrains that are engineered not just for speed, but for responsiveness, because its buyers often seek thrill, control, and the feeling of being connected to the road in a way that is rare for ultra-luxury vehicles. And this difference reveals a deeper truth. Rolls-Royce builds cars for those who want to feel untouchable. Bentley builds cars for those who want to feel unstoppable. But beyond performance, design tells its own story. Rolls-Royce creates shapes that are meant to be seen as timeless symbols, using long lines, massive silhouettes, and stately proportions that make the car appear almost royal, as if it carries a presence that demands attention effortlessly. And this presence is enhanced by the spirit of ecstasy, the illuminated grille, and the monolithic surfaces that reflect wealth, power, and legacy, making the car feel less like a vehicle and more like a moving sculpture. Bentley, however, designs its cars with a muscular stance, wide haunches, athletic proportions, sharper edges, and aggressive lighting signatures that give the impression of speed even when the car is stationary. And this visual identity speaks directly to those who appreciate craftsmanship blended with performance, where beauty is not fragile but powerful, not delicate but bold. And then there is the world of customization, where both brands excel but in very different ways. Rolls-Royce's bespoke program operates like a luxury design studio, capable of translating any idea: colors inspired by a client's vacation home, materials sourced from rare woods, embroidery created from photographs, starlight ceilings mapped using constellations meaningful to the owner, into a fully personalized masterpiece. And this level of customization acts as a form of storytelling, giving the owner something truly one-of-one. Bentley's Millionaire division also creates extraordinary bespoke vehicles, but with a different creative approach, one that blends tradition with sport, offering handcrafted veneers, rare leathers, unique exterior styling, and performance-focused personalization options that enhance the identity of the driver producing. Cars that feel like extensions of their personality, especially for buyers who value status through craftsmanship and capability. This difference in buyer psychology plays a major role in the modern rivalry because Rolls-Royce buyers often seek privacy, elegance, and symbolic power. Billionaires, royals, global leaders, and individuals whose success demands a vehicle that broadcasts influence without shouting it, while Bentley buyers often come from entrepreneurial backgrounds, driven, energetic, athletic-minded individuals who see their car as a reflection of their ambition rather than their status. Yet both types of buyers have one common desire. They want something the rest of the world cannot access easily. And this exclusivity fuels the rivalry further, making each brand push its limits. And as the automotive world moves toward electrification, the rivalry deepens. Rolls-Royce introduced the Spectre, a fully electric ultra-luxury coupe that transforms electric power into pure smoothness, using silence and torque to enhance its core philosophy of effortlessness. While Bentley is developing its own electric identity centered on performance, dynamic driving, and a new era of power that still feels authentically Bentley. And this sets the stage for the next generation of competition, where silence and strength will battle again, this time in complete electric form. As we close this chapter, the contrast between the two brands is now undeniably clear. One remains the master of serenity and presence, crafting vehicles that feel like sanctuaries on wheels, while Bentley stands as the champion of performance luxury, merging British refinement with thrilling capability. And it is this difference, this duality, this psychological separation of what luxury truly means that prepares us to enter the third chapter, where the rivalry becomes more personal, more emotional, and more connected to the people who choose these vehicles and the lifestyles they represent. As we reach the height of this rivalry, the story of Rolls-Royce versus Bentley becomes more than a comparison of machines. It becomes a reflection of legacy, identity, and the emotional choices that define ultra-wealthy individuals. Because at this level of luxury, the battle isn't about horsepower or leather quality. It is about what these brands symbolize in the lives of the people who buy them. And when you peel back the polished chrome and hand-stitched craftsmanship, you begin to understand that each car carries a different psychological weight, a different expression of power, and a different vision of success. And nowhere is this more evident than in the moments when these vehicles are placed in their natural environments. A Rolls-Royce pulling into the circular driveway of a mansion during a quiet sunset, and a Bentley roaring through a mountain road at dawn, each embodying a world, a lifestyle, and a personality. But as we dig deeper, we discover that this rivalry intensifies around the idea of emotional experience, because Rolls-Royce has mastered the art of creating a feeling of untouchable calm, a sensation so refined that even billionaires, celebrities, and monarchs use it as an escape from the world's noise. Stepping into a Rolls is like stepping into a private universe where the outside world fades away, where the doors close with a whisper, where the starlight ceiling becomes a personal constellation, and where the cabin transforms into a sanctuary that mirrors the owner's success. And this feeling is not accidental, it is engineered, crafted, and sculpted with obsessive precision. From seat cushions designed to mimic the softness of high-end furniture to engineering techniques that eliminate vibrations before they reach the cabin. And this obsession with serenity is why Rolls-Royce customers often use words like peace, presence, and effortless when describing their ownership experience. Bentley owners, however, use entirely different language words like power, command, control, and thrill, because the emotional experience Bentley delivers is not about isolation, but engagement, not about detachment, but connection. And when a Bentley owner presses the accelerator, there is a sense of partnership between driver and machine, a feeling that the car responds to their ambition, their momentum, their hunger for speed and precision. And this connection becomes even more personal when we look at the stories of the people who choose these brands. Rolls-Royce attracts individuals who want to be chauffeured, who operate on the world stage, who attend state dinners, run global companies, or live in rarefied circles where privacy is currency. While Bentley attracts individuals who built their fortunes through relentless drive, entrepreneurs, athletes, creators, innovators, people who prefer to be behind the wheel, hands on the leather, feeling the surge of performance that echoes their own desire for movement, challenge, and forward momentum. But the rivalry deepens, not only through emotion, but through heritage. Because Rolls-Royce's history is rooted in royal lineage, diplomatic transport, and symbols of absolute authority, while Bentley's legacy is forged through motorsport victories, endurance races, and engineering achievements that earned it a reputation as the gentleman's performance luxury car. And understanding this contrast explains why these brands behave the way they do today. Rolls-Royce never chases speed records or track times because its mission is different. It is about creating the world's smoothest, quietest, most comforting vehicles. Cars that feel like extensions of a penthouse or a private jet. Bentley, however, embraces performance, heritage, and continues to produce vehicles that deliver exhilarating speed, precise handling, and athleticism unmatched. In the luxury segment, which explains why the Continental GT became the modern symbol of ambitious entrepreneurs and first-generation millionaires seeking a blend of power and prestige. And yet, the rivalry reaches its most dramatic moment when both brands face the question that defines the future of luxury. What will happen in the era of electrification, where silence becomes common and performance becomes instant? Rolls-Royce has already answered with a Spectra masterpiece that uses electric power not as a gimmick, but as an evolution of its core philosophy of silence and smoothness, proving that the brand's identity can thrive even without combustion. Because for Rolls-Royce, electricity enhances what it already stands for: effortlessness, serenity, and isolation from the world. Bentley, meanwhile, approaches electrification with a different mindset, seeing electric power as an opportunity to push performance even further, to create new forms of athletic luxury, to combine instant torque with grand touring capabilities in a way that deepens its identity rather than changes it. And this emerging chapter of the rivalry reveals a profound truth: while Rolls-Royce uses technology to enhance calm, Bentley uses technology to elevate excitement, ensuring their philosophies remain intact even as the automotive world transforms around them. But what truly escalates this rivalry to its peak is the lifestyle ecosystem built around each brand, because Rolls-Royce isn't just a car, it is an entry into a world of bespoke art-exclusive events, private clubs, and rare experiences curated for an elite circle of individuals who see luxury as legacy, and these owners often collect multiple Rolls models, each tailored to different aspects of their life. From formal business engagements to leisure travel, Bentley also cultivates an ecosystem, but with a different energy, one centered around adventure, performance, gatherings, driving tours, and luxury. Sporting culture, attracting a demographic that values both refinement and adrenaline, and these lifestyle differences create emotional loyalty that shapes generational preference. Heirs of empires often grow up with Rolls-Royce, while self-made success stories often gravitate toward Bentley. And as this chapter unfolds, the rivalry becomes deeply human, because each brand represents a different answer to a universal question: what does success feel like? Rolls-Royce says success feels calm, timeless, and unshakable. Bentley says success feels bold, powerful, and alive. And these emotional interpretations of wealth are what push people firmly into one camp or the other. And yet, despite their differences, the two brands are eternally connected, locked in a rivalry that continues to elevate both sides, because Rolls-Royce needs Bentley to preserve its image of serene supremacy, and Bentley needs Rolls-Royce to sharpen its identity as the performance-driven alternative, and this duality is what makes the rivalry legendary. As we prepare to enter the final chapter, the story shifts from the cars themselves to what they represent in the world: symbols of power, identity, legacy, and transformation. Now the question becomes, in a world where luxury keeps evolving, Who will define the future, and what will this rivalry leave behind for the next generation? Of the wealthy, who dream not just of buying a luxury car, but of choosing the one that represents who they truly are. In the final stage of the Rolls-Royce versus Bentley journey, we arrive at the point where the rivalry transforms from a comparison of machines into a meditation on legacy, identity, and the meaning of luxury across generations. And as we stand at this crossroads, the story becomes less about the metal, craftsmanship, or engineering, and more about the imprint these brands leave on the world, and the people who define themselves through them, because every Rolls-Royce and every Bentley ever built carries a fragment of a much larger narrative. A story of craftsmanship passed down through decades, a story of artisans who sculpt leather and wood like living monuments, and a story of owners who choose these vehicles not only for transportation, but as symbols of their place in the world, reflections of their inner values and the lifestyles they have built. And when we trace this narrative from the early days of British automotive tradition to the modern era of electric advancement, we begin to see how both brands have shaped not just the luxury market, but the cultural language of achievement, because Rolls-Royce, with its devotion to serenity, transforms every journey into a ritual of presence, making even a short drive feel like a procession through one's own kingdom. While Bentley, with its dynamic edge, transforms each moment behind the wheel into an affirmation of momentum, energy, and the thrill of being alive. As we explore their impact across continents, industries, and generations, we find that Rolls-Royce became the mark of choice for world leaders, royalty, influential families, and those whose lives are intertwined with diplomacy, privacy, and heritage, while Bentley became the favored brand for first-generation entrepreneurs, innovators, artists, and high achievers who built their success with ambition and who want a machine that mirrors that restless hunger. And this separation of appeal is not manufactured by marketing, but born from the DNA of each brand. Because Rolls-Royce was engineered around the idea of presence, quiet authority that does not need to raise its voice, while Bentley was engineered around the idea of participation, where the owner isn't just a passenger in their life, but an active force shaping their destiny. And as the years unfold, this difference becomes more meaningful, especially in the lives of those who pass wealth from one generation to the next. Because Rolls-Royce often becomes a family heirloom, a symbol that survives transitions of power, ownership, and time. While Bentley often becomes a personal reward, a celebration of success, an expression of individuality before legacy begins to form. And yet, despite these distinctions, both brands share an unspoken truth. Luxury is no longer about owning the rarest thing, but about owning the right thing, the machine that reflects who you are becoming, not just who you are today. And this realization deepens the rivalry as we step into the world of bespoke craftsmanship, where Rolls-Royce and Bentley create vehicles that reflect their owners' identities with astonishing precision, commissioning rare materials from around the world, incorporating personal stories into design details, and shaping unique builds that will never be duplicated again. Because at this level of luxury, personalization becomes a form of immortality. Every stitch becomes a signature, every veneer becomes a memory, and every specification becomes a declaration of selfhood. And yet, what elevates this final chapter to its emotional peak is the way these brands influence the lives of those who experience them. Because Rolls-Royce empowers its owners to slow down, breathe, and exist with calm clarity, distilling success into a state of inner peace, while Bentley empowers its owners to accelerate, advance, and chase the next horizon, distilling success into momentum and vitality. And within this emotional divide lies the answer to why this rivalry continues to thrive, even as technology disrupts almost everything else in the world. As electrification reshapes the automotive landscape, Rolls-Royce embraces the shift as a natural extension of its quest for ultimate silence, transforming electric power into a new dimension of stillness and refinement. With models like the Spectre proving that the brand's essence is timeless, because serenity does not depend on combustion. It is a philosophy, a promise, a commitment to craftsmanship that transcends eras. Bentley, embracing electrification with equal ambition, sees electric power as an opportunity to rewrite the rules of performance, to create machines that respond with instantaneous force while preserving the brand's grand touring soul. Blending tradition with innovation in ways that electrify not just their engines, but the emotions of those who drive them. And together, these parallel evolutions mark a turning point in the rivalry, revealing that the true battleground of luxury is no longer defined by cylinders or horsepower, but by meaning what the car represents in the life of the person who owns it. And as we look toward the future, we realize that this rivalry leaves behind more than iconic cars. It leaves behind a blueprint for how luxury evolves, how craftsmanship survives, and how identity is expressed through objects of extraordinary beauty. And it teaches us that luxury is not static, but living, growing, changing, deepening, with every generation that inherits these stories. Because somewhere in the world, there's a child riding in the back of a Rolls-Royce for the first time, absorbing the feeling of calm importance without yet understanding why it matters. And elsewhere, there is a teenager glimpsing a Bentley on the highway, feeling something awaken in their spirit, something that says ambition, power, freedom, the feeling of chasing a dream. And someday, one of them will sit behind the wheel, making the choice that millions before them have made. Do they want their success to feel like quiet mastery or like unstoppable momentum? And that choice, deeply personal, deeply emotional, is what keeps this rivalry alive across centuries. Rolls-Royce and Bentley are no longer just brands. They are philosophies that shape how people move through the world, how they tell their stories, how they celebrate their victories, and how they express their identities. And as this final chapter closes, the rivalry doesn't end, evolves, rising like a timeless echo that will continue to resonate through future innovations, future generations, and future visions of luxury, reminding us that in the world of the ultra-wealthy, the ultimate question is not which car is better, but which car aligns with the life you are creating and which feeling, calm or power, you want to carry with you every time the road opens and the world waits. And if this journey through the world of Rolls-Royce and Bentley left you seeing luxury with new eyes, if it made you feel the quiet power of refinement or the electric surge of ambition, then you're only standing at the beginning of what comes next. Because the deeper we go into the world of billionaire psychology, elite craftsmanship, hidden industries, and the secrets behind true generational wealth, the more astonishing the stories become. So if you thought this story was good, wait until you hear what's coming next. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next millionaire secret. Because the next chapter might just change the way you see success forever.